Hey guys, welcome back to Black Clover Mobile. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the upcoming banners, which looks like we should be getting the Season 2 banner with Ghost, Noelle, and Charmy in about a week from now, and then on the 19th, and then on the 24th, or Christmas Eve, or depending on where you are in the world, maybe Christmas Day, we should be getting the Julius banner as well. Now, these two banners, the reason I think they're doing this on global is because I know from KR version, especially like talking to someone like Seaton, who just like absolutely hated it when Noelle came out because she was just that broken and imbalanced essentially. And then much later on, they introduced basically a counter to her, which was Julius. I feel like with global, they're like, okay, we've got to introduce the problem and the solution at the same time so the game can still be played. And I think that's what they're looking at doing. I could be wrong on that take. That is just my take on what they're doing, but they're looking like releasing these within a week of each other. And now I want to talk about what I think free-to-play should do. Spenders a bit different, but I will talk about my set strategy and how many summons I want to be saving and stuff like that as well. But the reason I think this is a bit of a bait banner here, because if you burn all your summons into this one, I just think it's a bad call, because we got to consider the fact that also on top of that, because it's seasonal, we should have the gateway. Now, unless they shaft us and say, oh, you don't have a gateway this season because it's got Noelle on it. Hopefully they don't do that. So if anything does change, I will update you guys. But essentially, because of the gateway and the way the gateway works, and I've had some people ask me, if you're not sure where you get the other key from, you get the key at the end of completing the advanced missions. So once I get another 8 days of daily missions done, there we go. We're going to go ahead and get that key. So we should get the gateway, which gives us access to a free copy of Noelle. And if you want dupes, well, we do have universal dupes that we will continue to get that you will be able to put into her. Now, the reason I think it's a bit of a bait banner and I think saving is going to be the play is because Julius, you're not guaranteed a copy from, you know, a gateway or something like that. You don't get a free copy. So that instantly gives his banner more value. Now, before we go in and talk about the Julius versus Noelle banner and the other reasons I think that Julius banner is just so much more important to put summons into, I want to quickly talk about this banner and the other units that we've got. Now, we've got Charmy here. Now, Charmy is a unit that is actually a fantastic healer and finally gives us a reason to use all those HP pieces that you get. I don't know if you guys like me. Every daily free LR piece I get is HP or defense. And I just want attack and magic attack. It's all I want, but I'm getting shafted. But finally, this would give us a reason to use that. However, for a lot of free-to-play players, kind of like myself, we've already built our blue team using the little Charmy. And for me, even though the other Charmy may excel more and she's really good at just keeping your team completely topped off because she has all these continuous healing effects, I don't see the value in my account as free to play putting all those resources into just like an upgrade to my blue healer. Especially when I also have Mimosa, who is also a good healer for PvP as well. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Even though Charmy is really good at the seasonal Charmy, I don't think it's like a must-have for free-to-play players. Similar to Ghosh, Ghosh is actually a decent buffing unit. If we look at his skill on a 2-turn cooldown, giving you increased attack, you get the increased pen, and then you also get the increased damage dealt, which stacks, and you're going to stack it quick because it's on a 2-turn cooldown. And then over on his ultimate, we get some mitigation and accuracy. The problem is he doesn't have the speed or the gauge boosting that something like Finral or Veltos have, and I just... that's his big downfall in my opinion. So despite these two units both being good, they're not crazy. Now, Noelle is cracked. She protects your team. She does the main damaging role. She counterattacks. She does it all, and she's kind of broken essentially is what we're talking about. So she is amazing, and you definitely want her. But like I said, because the existence of the gateway, you're better off just taking her from the gateway and saving summons for Julius. Now, I will be personally putting some summons into this banner, and I'll talk about that a bit more in a sec. But the other reason I think you want to avoid this banner and put more summons into the Julius banner is when we look at the skill page. So if we take a look at the skill page, because when you're summoning on these things, you got to consider the other things that you might get in there with the rate ups. So for the Noelle banner, we've got Charmy and Ghosh. I already mentioned that. Good, but not necessary units. Then you've also got her skill page, which is gonna, if you have her skill page, it's gonna, on her skill, if an ally already has a barrier, it grants them HP recovery equal to 50% of her magic attack. Now, this is a 50% magic attack heal on a 3-turn cooldown. it's not crazy. And she's already protecting you with the shield so that hopefully you're not taking the ridiculous amount of damage. Yes, that heal in some PvE situations might be clutch. Maybe in some PvP it might be clutch, but I don't think it's going to be as impactful as when we look at Julius. Because if we look at Julius and what his skill page offers, you're going to also reduce their stamina to 0, which is fantastic. So if we can, even if we miss the time stop, we're still disrupting them by reducing them to 0, and that's 100% activation. And then we've also got a 60% chance to apply 10% decreased stamina to enemies other than the target. So we got a whole enemy team manipulation possibility there. 60%, you're probably not going to get all of them every time, but it's still a decent thing to have. The big thing is reduce stamina of the target to 0. So this gives us guaranteed lockout on his skill, whereas if you don't have his skill page, you're gambling on that chance. So that is why I think saving summons for the Julius banner is going to be much more important. 1, Noelle, Gateway, happy days. 2, Julius, skill page, OP. Those are the 2 main reasons. Now, like I said, I want to bounce over here and talk about what my strategy is going to be. And because, if you are getting Noelle from the gateway, you got to remember it is going to take you time to do those missions, especially the limited challenge missions. That's going to be the one that sort of drags out and takes you a few days to go ahead and actually complete that gateway to get your Noelle. So that's the one thing you got to consider there. So if you want to do some summons, what I would recommend doing is saving, and each, you've got to come up with your own limit. I want to save at least 200 summons for the Julius banner. I want to get my Julius, and if I can get his skill page as well, that is fantastic. But I don't want to put myself, and considering these banners are meant to be about a week apart, I don't want to go deep into the Summer Noel banner past having 200 still saved for Julius. But then we've got to consider the fact that what they're doing over here on Global is releasing the overpowered units pretty consecutively. We don't know what's coming after Julius. Maybe they do another cracked unit after that, and it just gets even bigger snowball. So for that reason, I don't even want to go too, if I can save 300 summons and maybe put 30 to 50 summons into the Noelle banner, then I'll do that. But like I said, I definitely think saving up at least 200 summons. If you're below 200 summons, I would consider skipping the seasonal Noelle banner and just picking her up from the exchange. Now, if you're looking at my account as well, because I get comments all the time, people saying you're not free to play, shut up. I promise you guys, I am free to play. I just did managed to get into the upper leagues this week, which gave me another I think it was around 7,000 crystals at the reset, because I got all these things for the first time clear rewards. So that's where all that currency came from, and then I just re-rolled and got really lucky on my summons. So that's where we're at. But like I said, I definitely want to save at least 200 summons for Julius banner, because I think getting his skill page is something I really want. I want Julius and I want his skill page. Those are just 2 very, very just incredibly important things to me. Whereas Noelle, I'm not too stressed about dupes. I can use universal dupes on her if I want to. We do always have that as an option. So I will probably put, I want to say I'll do similar to what I did on the other banner. I'll put 50 in at least. I feel like 50 for me is a safe range, because I want to save, like I said, 200 at least, but more. The reason I'm summoning on the Noelle banner is to get her before the gateway, so I can get her on day 1 and start playing with her. And also then it would give me an option to either get a dupe of her from the gateway or pick up Charmy would be my next option from the gateway. So that is what we can look at doing there. But I just don't want to go too deep. And like I said, I'm looking at doing maybe about 50 pulls and then stopping, just because if we go over here to Exchange Center and we go to the bonus exchange, you can see this thing here. So when the banner ends, you get these tickets. And I did 50 pulls on the season 1, so I'll get enough to get these 5 summon tickets for the month. And then if I do 50 pulls on the Noelle banner, I'll have another to get these again for the next rotation on the next month. That's kind of what I'm looking at doing. It depends how many you did on season 1. You might have spare left over and stuff like that. But that is just my play. So I'm thinking about 50 summons. I may go deeper depending on how bad my luck is or good my luck is and how trigger happy I am. But we'll have to wait and see. But essentially, like I said, for most free-to-play players, I think that skipping this one and picking up Noelle from the gateway is going to be the best play, and then going ham on the Julius banner when it drops, because once again, if you get Julius, happy days. If you get his skill page, even better. Anyway, that is going to be it for this one, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.